Hey fam, and welcome back to what might officially be my last Halloween tutorial of the season, but of course still creating, fun visual creative content for you, but this might be the last Halloween one. Also, a bit of disclaimer, this is more of a get ready with me as I am having cocktails, getting ready for Desi Perkins' Halloween party, so I'm not really as aware that the camera's there, if you know what I mean. But I'm just sketching out the overall design as I do. I fast forwarded because you've seen it 1,000 times. But the fun part is I'm using Anasazi's dipbrow in ebony, which is a brow pomade, and I'm just shoving it right where I want the most shadow to be and just kind of creating as much of a sharp line as I possibly can. And then with that same brush, I'm using a lip brush by the way, I am then going to start pulling that cream product down, and it's going to start creating a nice soft seamless blend. But also the great part about using this dip brow is it is a deep cool toned brown, but it also is self-setting, I believe, so it will it lasted me all night long. It didn't budge. It looked exactly the same when I got home, which was great. But you guys can see I'm just following that traditional skull shape that I normally always do, and then again just blending in that cream product right into the skin. It appears a little bit black on camera, but we don't use almost any black at all in this entire look. But I'm also switching to a blending brush to create a little bit more of a softer blend if you find it necessary. But I'm quickly just going to go show you guys. I'm just doing this to every shadow step. It's the exact same thing. I'm going in with the dipbrow pomade, and in ebony, and just creating some different lines and overall designs. If you guys are new to this, you guys can just kind of screenshot what I end up with and kind of just follow it paint by numbers. But you guys can see now, after doing the temple, I'm now creating a little bit of that eye socket, and I'm creating it into my eyebrow. I want to create a strong and pigmented section right around the eyebrow so you can no longer see the hairs. And you guys can see right now I'm sharpening up the line around the eyebrow so you guys can no longer see the hairs, so the illusion is more in the makeup and it doesn't look like you have eyebrows at all. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm doing that same thing in the inner corner because that's right where, it's obviously the most hairy, so just to get a lot of pigment and product in there to blend it out to, again, sell the illusion that there are no eyebrows at all without having to cover them. I don't really like to cover my eyebrows because in person it always just looks bad, So again, just doing the same thing now to the bottom jawline, and just don't forget to sweep it all the way down, going all the way into the chin. I like to bring it up a bit to kind of narrow out the chin. I'm taking a blending brush and just pulling some shadow into the temple, but I'll go back to that later. I'm now going to go in with the Anastasia Brow Pro palette, and I'm going in with the shade Ebony. This is just a gray eyeshadow. There's no warmth to it at all, and I'm using that to help blend out the ebony. I didn't want to use any warmth in the makeup at all, really, because the warmth of your skin will already show through. You guys can see that it already has like a little bit of a brown tone, and I'm not adding any brown. So if I would have added more brown or a brown eyeshadow, it would have been too brown. I hope that makes sense. But you guys can see now I'm going in with that same ebony color now, and I'm going to start shading in the highlighted section of the cheekbone. I've done this in a couple skull tutorials in the past, but you guys can see I'm just creating a little bit of shadow to hug that harsh brown line where we used ebony, and then we're going to go and highlight into that space. But right now you guys can see I'm just blending a little bit of shadow, and I'm doing that also on the bottom jawline as well, shading in the highlighted sections, and then we'll go in and highlight them separately with two different highlights. But just taking that same eyeshadow now too and blending the eye area as well to help get that nice and soft. I'm going in now with Tarte Shape Tape and concealer in a lighter shade, more of my skin tone, but a little bit lighter. And I'm using that to highlight the bones, but then also to bring it into the shadow. You guys can see that it really helps nice, seamlessly blend in shadows, and it'll give you that, Photoshop look without the Photoshop. And you guys can see I'm applying a little bit to the cheekbone as well and blending it into those shadows, and it gives you the most seamless blend. And now I'm going in with another Tarte concealer that's about 2 or 3 shades lighter than the one I just used, and I'm using that to highlight right where we used ebony, in between where we used the gray brow eyeshadow, and that's going to create a little bit more dimension and movement in the overall makeup. And I'm also highlighting around the temple and all around the cheekbone areas, and then now going in with a deeper eyeshadow, or a deeper brow shadow from the same palette, and I'm just enhancing these shadows and kind of blending the shadows into that highlight so everything kind of moves together. I'm now I'm now going in with Benefit's roller liner in the shade brown, and I'm using that to enhance everywhere that we put ebony. Again, still not using a black, but using a lot of deep tones. And then I'm also shading a little bit on that bottom jawline because it felt a little flat. I'm making this up in my brain as I go too, which is why this tutorial is kind of all over the place. I use that same brow liner, the roller liner by Benefit, to create the nose lines, and then I will be going back in with the ebony, the dip brow product from Anastasia, and blending that into the nose. Again, this is a cream product, but it is self-setting, so I'm not using any powder. I'm not using powders to set it. I'm using them just to help blend. But now going in with more shadows just to deepen up different areas and to kind of create a little bit more movement and also create a little bit of shadow around the nose bridge. And you guys can highlight again with concealer if you guys feel that the shadows are too intense. But obviously I did this to both sides. And then I'm just deepening up the shadows on the eye slowly. I'm going in now with the black eyeshadow from the brow palette, which isn't a true black. It's a very, very deep gray. And I'm using that just to sweep into the inner and outer corners of the eye. And then also anywhere you see a U-shape or a bend in the bone in the cheekbones here, I'm creating a little bit of shadow point peak upwards, just to add a little bit more movement and dimension to the actual cheekbone skull itself. And then also using that shadow to enhance the brow area to give that furrowed, angry brow. And then going in with that same concealer again and highlighting the inner part of the brow bone, and then also going to the outer part of the brow bone and blending that inwards as well, so that protrudes out from the temple area and all that good stuff. And then adding more concealer into the center of the mouth here to blend into that brown. I'm going now and just repeating kind of the same steps and just fine-tuning now that it's looking a little bit more finished, nothing crazy. But I'm taking some cream white, and I am going to block out my lips and facial hair as best I can, sweeping that up into the chin and into the mouth, but then also applying that to the cheekbones and the brow bone to help for balance, because it was a little stark and harsh. But now once you highlight in all those areas, now it's more cohesive, as you can see. So now I'm going in with the same ebony color with a flat angled brush, and I'm just creating black straight lines, as you can see. I'm going to speed up the kind of shading part, but since this is a cream product, it does move and blend really nice. So once you get all of those just straight lines, I'm going to start to connect them to create almost candy corn shape. You want to create the shape of candy corn. So now I'm going in with a brush, and I'm just blending in all of those lines that I just pushed in to kind of diffuse them outward so nothing is too harsh and too stark, but still keeping the inner center straight. So I'm just blending out all of these candy corn shapes, little, triangles. And then we're going to go in with the cream white. But I'm just blending them out and sweeping the lines into the jawbone and into the chin and into the jawline and upper bones and all that kind of stuff. And then with a cream white, this one is by Makeup Forever in the Flash palette, I am very carefully blending in all of that cream white with a lip brush. And then at the very end, with very low to no product at all, pulling it upwards into a triangle and pulling it inwards into those bones. So now it all becomes very cohesive and like acts more as one unit. You know what I'm saying? You guys can see me taking sips of my drink. I'm also highlighting my cheekbones in the center of my nose all over again just to match the intensity of the teeth. So it's just overall balance. And then going back in with that roller liner by Benefit in brown and then just kind of enhancing any of those lines just to create a very solid, so you can see where the tooth is. You know, it's very stark. Cool, so I put on a turtleneck and my contacts, and I look like a dead Steve Jobs. So now I'm taking some black face paint, and very sparsely. I don't want anything pigmented black. I want it just to be a little bit more brown and darker. I'm applying that around my hairline and my neck just to kind of blend in any human parts of my face so it all becomes cohesive. Since this is a costume, they're going to see you from every angle. And I'm testing out the shades to make sure the look's coming together. With my black hair and with the black outfit, I thought it wasn't, it was a little too brown, so now I'm going in with the Norvina palette, and I'm taking just a little bit of black eyeshadow and adding it to the smallest areas, and then also contouring my chin to make it more narrow. Boom. And then the same black eyeshadows I also added to the eye a bit, just to pull it all together. I'm sweeping some brown eyeshadow underneath my eye just to create a little bit more depth and dimension, and then I'm going to start adding my accessories. So I have this great necklace from Gilded Official. I have this hat that I've had forever for 21 for forever, and then these sunglasses I got from Amazon, and then my amazing that I'm obsessed with Michael Costello jacket that he made for me for the Face Awards. I love him. So now with that, I'm taking the Jeffree Star palette, and I'm applying that gold into the inner corner of the eye just to really tie everything together. And then that's the finished look, my friends. I really hated this look for most of the time. And then after, oh my God, I felt like the most fashionable dead guy in the world. I really hope that you guys like this look and recreate it and wear it this Halloween season or just for life, whatever. I love you guys so much. Definitely subscribe if you're not already. And I'll see you guys in my next video next week. All right, bye guys.